Last time on Dragon Ball Z.
This happened a year ago, and what happened was that I started eating eggs again, or it was an experiment.
Alright, so as many of you already know, the other day Jon Venus confessed to eating eggs about a year ago, and he came up with the most ridiculous excuses I've ever heard, and of course I made my own response video to the situation. And Jon has decided to respond to all of the backlash from me, from the vegan community, and he just recently came out with a video titled, "Am I Really Vegan? Handling All the Hate?" And what we're gonna do today is ask and answer that question. Is Jon really vegan? So let's take a look at Jon's video and answer that question as we go along.
A couple days ago, I posted a video about me experimenting with eggs, a very short experiment done in a way that I thought was worth it, but the video got picked up by a lot of other vegan YouTubers who basically sent a lot of hate. Hint, hint, vegan gain.
So, as is typical with Jon, rather than taking responsibility for his poor choices, he tries to make himself out to be the victim, and he's trying to make it seem as if I'm just relentlessly attacking him for no reason. The fact is, Jon, you're not the victim in this situation, and you're the one who decided to needlessly support exploitation, cruelty, and murder. You claim that you bought these eggs from this happy farm that doesn't murder their egg-laying hens. Cool story, I don't believe it, but even if that was true, guess what? Male chicks in the egg industry are culled, they're murdered because they're useless to the egg industry. They're no good for anything, so male chicks are killed. They're often just thrown into a blender while they're still fully conscious. So whether or not these chickens that you got eggs from are living on this happy little paradise, guess what? You're still supporting just horrific cruelty and murder regardless. And on top of that, these egg-laying hens, they are bred to produce as many eggs as possible, and that means they often suffer from diseases. These egg-laying hens, they often don't live long, and they suffer and die due to reproductive-related diseases. So, Jon, I don't care if you claim that you got these eggs from the happiest farm on earth, the one farm in existence that doesn't eventually kill their egg-laying hens once their egg production slows down. You are still supporting murder, you are still supporting exploitation that causes the needless suffering and death of animals. You're not the victim, grow up and take responsibility.
Now, I'm not here to talk bad about anyone. I want to talk about what is the meaning of veganism.
Right, so the guy who bought and ate eggs for no reason is going to teach us the meaning of veganism. I know what veganism is, Jon, so why don't you just go yourself.
So if we take a look at the official definition of veganism from the Vegan Society, it says, veganism is a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. Instead of animals, I will put animals and human beings, because what I'm seeing in the vegan movement, and a very small part of the vegan movement, a very, very small part, but very loud part, what I'm seeing is the exact opposite. Veganism, for me personally, is about compassion and empathy. That is why I have it tattooed on my hand.
Well, Jon, if compassion and empathy are requisites for being vegan, then clearly you're not vegan because you didn't have any compassion or empathy for the chickens that you exploited. You paid money to an industry that forcibly breeds these animals, their male offspring are then brutally murdered shortly after birth, and these animals are selectively bred in a way that ensures they will suffer and die from reproductive-related diseases. Like, Jon, you've made 2 videos on this topic so far, and you haven't apologized for doing this. You haven't said, no, what I did was totally wrong, it wasn't worth it, let me tell you why. No, you've made 2 videos trying to excuse yourself from doing this, and right at the beginning of this video, rather than apologizing, saying, this was something that was stupid, I shouldn't have done it, I needlessly supported cruelty, no, you said, you know, looking back on it, no, it was worth it, I thought it was a good idea.
A couple days ago, I posted a video about me experimenting with eggs, a very short experiment done in a way that I thought was worth it.
worth it.
So we're only a minute into Jon's video and he's already proven that he's not vegan. I would have thought it would have taken longer than this, but Jon just continues to subvert our expectations. By your own definition, Jon, we're supposed to have compassion towards animals if we're going to call ourselves vegan. Well, clearly, you don't have any compassion to animals. You're perfectly fine with needlessly supporting their suffering and death. You have absolutely no remorse. You haven't apologized at all for what you did, and you're implicitly stating that, oh yeah, if you're vegan, you want to try eating some eggs, that's just totally fine. Stop pretending, Jon, you're not vegan. You might be plant-based, you might eat like plants for the vast majority of the time, but you're not vegan. You clearly do not agree with the ethical principles of veganism.
Can someone tell me why we're forgetting that human beings are also animals? It is extremely hypocritical to say that you love animals and that you do everything for them and then do the exact opposite towards your fellow human beings.
So once again, Jon is trying to play the victim here. He's accusing me of being a hypocrite because I show compassion towards animals, but I won't show Jon any compassion because I'll viciously criticize him. Well, Jon, is me criticizing you anything close to what you've done to these animals, these chickens? Have I murdered your son? Have I genetically modified your wife to make sure she'll suffer and die from some sort of reproductive disease early in life? Get over yourself.
You are not perfect. You're the furthest from perfect that is even possible. There is no perfection in being a human being, and seeking it and trying to achieve it is stupid. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to be better and try to be more empathetic, compassionate, and positive and happy, but it means we should stop criticizing and hating on other people for not meeting your own expectations. It's not about you. It's not about you.
Listening to you literally makes my stomach turn. No one is expecting you to be perfect, Jon. The only expectation that people have of you is that you don't pay for animals to be exploited and murdered. That is a very low bar to meet, yet somehow you failed to manage that very low expectation. And rather than doing the only decent thing in the situation, apologizing for what you did, acknowledging that what you did was wrong, no, you just try and play the victim. You're not the victim, Jon. You're a grown man, you're a huge bodybuilder with gigantic muscles, and you tried to pick on a bunch of innocent little chickens that did nothing to you. And you're trying to play the victim. You're just pathetic.
Hate, negativity, violence has never worked out. That is a fact.
But you're totally fine with committing violence against animals, right, Jon? Shut up. Just shut up. No one cares what you have to say because you're just a liar.
I try to combat hate with love because that is the only thing you can do. What are you gonna do? Try to combat hate with hate? That has not worked out very well, has it, in this world?
No, Jon, you combat hate with lies and manipulation. You've done this before. You actually made a video on your channel that you later deleted, making up lies about me. Here's a short clip.
We went around town to different restaurants, tried a bunch of different vegan food in Toronto. Like, I think we went to 3 different or 4 different restaurants. It was like a food marathon.
We're done at Hogtown Vegan. Amazing place, right?
Yeah, neither of us have abs anymore.
Richard, I think that you should really consider your health and, actually try not to eat so much, vegan junk food because...
Here we go. Yeah, okay, so because you spent one evening where we went to a few vegan restaurants, I eat junk food all the time. Good job, Jon. So, Jon just made the point that me and him, when he was in Toronto like 2 years ago or something, we went out to eat at 3 or 4 vegan restaurants. The reason is because you suggested it. I told you about the good restaurants in Toronto, and you were like, you want to just eat at all of them? That's what you said. You were the one who suggested that. That's why we went to 3 or 4 different restaurants, Jack. Junk food marathon. Okay, there we go. So let's take a look at this video. Him and his girlfriend at the time, who's now his wife, they went and did a junk food marathon where they just went out, ate crap. So there you go. Oh yeah, healthy food, right, Jon? Oh, Jon, you gotta stop with all the junk food. Jon, people are gonna get the wrong ideas about vegans, right? Like, Jon, this is just too much. You gotta stop with junk food. Stupid. So So you try to combat hate with love, do you, Jon? No, I don't think so. I've criticized you in the past and you were salty about it, so you tried to get back at me by making up a bunch of lies, but then after I responded to you proving that you were the one who was lying, you just deleted the video. So you combat hate with lies and manipulation, Jon, and you're doing the exact same thing here. The only difference is you're not deleting these videos. So I guess that's a step forward in a sense, and to answer the question, is Jon Venus vegan? No, he clearly does not agree with the ethical principles of veganism. He thinks it's perfectly fine for him to needlessly support the suffering and death of animals. So, no, Jon, you're not vegan. And Jon's better-looking, smarter brother, Leo Venus, he actually made a video about this, and I just wanted to quickly address one point that Leo made.
I know Jon super well, and I'm not surprised at all. And neither do I think it's a big deal that he did what he did. I mean, look, Jon has done so much for this movement. I know how passionate he is about this. The fact that he ate a dozen eggs one time a year ago, I don't think that's a big deal at all.
So Leo is just plain wrong here. This is a big deal, and the way Jon is behaving, the way he hid this for an entire year before he decided to talk about it, it makes it an even bigger deal. So look, veganism does not include eggs. There is no amount of unnecessary suffering, death, and exploitation that is acceptable under veganism. Doesn't matter if Jon ate 1 egg, doesn't matter if he ate 100 eggs, doesn't matter if he did this 1 time, 100 times. There is no amount of unnecessary suffering, death, and exploitation that is acceptable under veganism. So what Jon did was not vegan, it was not acceptable, and look, I can understand that people make mistakes, okay? Especially someone like Jon. Let's be honest, Jon's pretty slow. Being as politically correct as possible, he's a special boy. And especially for someone like Jon, I'd imagine it would be especially easy for someone like him to be manipulated. Someone could convince him to try eating eggs. But if Jon had just come out right after it happened and said, you know what, guys, I made a big mistake. I ate eggs. It was really stupid of me. It was totally wrong. Looking back, I just made a terrible decision. I needlessly supported animal cruelty. I wouldn't be making this video. I wouldn't have criticized him. I might have made a post on Twitter just saying, yeah, Jon did something stupid, but you know what, at least he was honest about it. But no, that's not what Jon did. He lied about it. He hid it for an entire year. And rather than admitting that he did something wrong, he just said, you know what I did was totally fine. It's fine to eat eggs. This crap isn't vegan. These lies, this manipulation, Jon is not a vegan. End of story. So, you know what, if you like this video, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon or through my website. I have some funding perks you may find interesting. If you're looking for clothing, then check out the Vegan Gain store, and if you're looking for online coaching, then check out Quality Gains. He offers customized, And if you're looking for online coaching, then check out Quality Gains. He offers customized meal and training programs, and as always, don't eat eggs!
What a relief! When will this poisonous product cease? This is another public service announcement. You can believe it or you can doubt it. Let us begin now with the cow. The way it gets to your plate and how.